Movies, films, pictures. Call it what you want. The art of motion pictures has significantly changed the pop culture of the whole world. Everybody has a favorite film or film series. They can spark overwhelming emotions, whether it's fun, happiness, sadness, anger, grief, romance, thrill, or horror. Films have the ability to help people visualize how certain events happened or would have happened, and how those people would have reacted in real time. Historical films like Saving Private Ryan showed us the horrors of World War II. Superhero movies like the Avengers series showed us what it would be like to live in a world filled with supernatural heroes. And crime dramas like The Godfather or Goodfellas shows us what the life of the mob can be like. Even though we go to see these movies in expensive movie theaters or streaming services, it seems so worth it, coming out of it rushing with emotion and interest. For its connection with people and its excellence, we award these movies and the people who make them with box office, critical reception, and most importantly, awards. There are several film organizations that award films for excellence in various areas like acting, cinematography, sound, design, and music. But the most important award for films is the Academy Award, or the Oscar. The Academy Awards, or the Oscars, has members of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences vote for all of these categories, including Best Movie. As we approach another Oscars ceremony, film fans tense up as they ponder who will win the best in each category. The award is highly significant as it immortalizes the film and its work for future generations to appreciate the movie as the best. But what if I told you that there are awards that immortalize movies as the worst movies of all time? Don't think too much, because it exists. Today, we will learn about the Golden Raspberry Awards, or the Razzies, that awards movies, actors, and crew with the worst of the year and even worst of the decade. Are they accurate? Do people have a problem with them? And what really is the worst movie of all time? Well, let's take a look. If you enjoy watching a movie here and there, you most likely have seen a bad movie once in a while. But what constitutes as a bad movie? There are several factors that can absolutely spoil a film, like bad acting, poor script writing, plot holes, cheesy special effects and CGI, or unnecessary use of sex, nudity, drugs, violence, or blood and gore. Whether the movie is good, bad, or average can be measured or represented by critic reviews by both movie critics and regular audience members. Rotten Tomatoes is one of the most popular measurements, as critics will either give a ripe red tomato if the movie's good, or a splatty green tomato if the movie is bad. The percentage of ripe tomatoes is the measure of how good it is. Typically, movies with at least 50% are relatively good movies, and a movie with over 75% is considered certified fresh, or a really good movie. Regular audience members have a meter as well, but just with popcorn as the representation. You can find plenty of movies in the high 90s like Citizen Kane, Parasite, and The Godfather. But there are also movies that couldn't even barely get any or not even one ripe tomato from a critic, leaving a score of less than 20, 10, or even 0% like The Room, Jack and Jill, The Master of Disguise, Bolero, or Police Academy 4, if you have even heard of these movies. All you have to do is watch a single clip of these movies to see the sheer incompetence and wonder how these movies actually got funding. These are the easy targets of the Golden Raspberry Awards, as every year, just like the Oscars, they award Worst Movie, Actor, Actress, Supporting Actor and Actress, Director, Screenplay, and others. There's also special categories some years, like Worst Excuse for Family Entertainment, the Razzie nominees So Rotten You Loved It, Worst Eye-Gouging Use of 3D, and Worst Reckless Disregard for Human Life and Public Property. There's even a Razzie Redeemer Award that congratulates former Razzie winners for coming back to work in good movies or win Oscars. So how do these awards even start? These awards are actually relatively old, as a publicist named J.B. Wilson started the first ever Razzies in 1981. Wilson held parties for the Academy Awards, and after he saw a double feature of Xanadu and Can't Stop the Music, he invited his guests to vote on the worst movie. The impromptu ceremony gave Can't Stop the Music the first ever Razzie for worst movie in 1981, which soon gathered some local media attention. The attendees of the event grew rapidly year after year, and at the time of the fourth Razzies, it gathered national attention. It became more mainstream as it began dishing out worst movie awards to movies like Tom Cruise's Cocktail, George Lucas's Howard the Duck, Showgirls, John Travolta's Battlefield Earth, and Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck's Geely. Even certain actors began piling up Razzies, as Sylvester Stallone and Madonna have been awarded the most Razzie Awards, with Stallone having 10 and Madonna having 9, who they also named Worst Actors of the Century. These awards may seem mean or spiteful, as some people do defend relatively bad movies for reasons like being sentimental, their favorite actors are in it, or maybe they actually just like the movie in general. But the intention of the awards are to be more satirical and just poking some fun with no malicious intent. Most of the recipients of the award, of course, don't accept the awards, but some notable figures actually do accept the award and make appearances at the award shows. Halle Berry showed up to the Razzies in 2004 when Catwoman won Worst Picture and she won Worst Actress. She accepted her award and gave a hilarious and satirical speech. Sandra Bullock also showed up to accept her award for Worst Actress in the movie All About Steve. She also gave a satirical speech, challenged the voters to read her lines better than she did in the movie, and offered to give out a wagon full load of the DVDs. More people accept the award too, like the director of Showgirls, Paul Verhoeven, Freddy Got Fingered director Tom Green, Ben Affleck, conservative filmmaker Dinesh D'Souza, and even Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. They all accepted the awards in good fun, but some film cast and crew have taken exception to the Razzies. According to the Razzies president, Sylvester Stallone hates the Razzies for their consistent awarding of Razzies to him. Most actors probably don't care about these awards due to the relatively small size and relevance, but if A-list actors are turning out to accept their awards, that could tell them popularity for these awards are surely rising. The Golden Raspberry Awards are surely meant to poke fun at the worst movies of the year, but that doesn't exactly exempt it from criticism or flaws. The first flaw is how easy it is to be a voter. For the Academy Awards, it's a more lengthy process of invitations, applications, fees, and references to get consideration to become a member to vote. For the Razzies, all you have to do is pay $40 to vote in the awards, meaning literally anyone can become a voter and may make a biased or relatively wrong pick. These members also do not have to watch the movies that are nominated, showing that they wouldn't even know if that's bad to them. So how would they know if it's the worst? Critics of the awards have also pointed out that the Razzies go for easy targets and the most infamous movies of the year that would garner more publicity and attention, rather from the actual worst film cast and crew of the year. With these strategies and the lack of finding the truly worst movie or actors, the awards run into paradoxes, as there have been plenty of movies, directors, and actors that have received both Razzie nominations and Oscar nominations. That sounds strange and contradictory, but yes. For example, the movie Wall Street both had an Oscar and a Razzie for Michael Douglas's Best Actor and Daryl Hannah's Worst Supporting Actress. The band Aerosmith had a song in the movie Armageddon that was nominated for Best Original Song and Worst Original Song. There are many others that got Oscars for one category and Razzies for another. That contradiction is even happening this year. Last year, actress Glenn Close starred in Ron Howard's Hillbilly Elegy, where her performance as a caring but tough grandmother landed her an Oscar nomination for Best Actress in a Supporting Role. Soon after, the Razzies nominated Close for the same category. Though the Razzies' plan for nominations are sketchy, an exception could be argued here as Hillbilly Elegy was polarizing among viewers. Some say it's one of the best movies they've ever seen, and some said it's the worst. I've seen the movie, and I still literally can't make a decision. This is where the problem of subjectivity comes into play. Films can be considered art, so it's really up to interpretation. Some people might look at a Picasso painting and love its design or message, while someone else might look at it and think it looks like a 3-year-old drew it. Same for films. Some people loved Martin Scorsese's The Irishman for its brilliant acting and screenplay, but some people would find it dull and extremely boring. It really depends on what people like, as people take sides on certain genres like superhero movies, romantic comedies, war movies, and many others. This is why both the Oscars and Razzies are controversial, because people just have different tastes in art. Of course, it's difficult to pick since there are only around 5 nominations and only 1 wins, but these organizations should be careful how they pick, for if a movie is polarizing among the audience like Hillbilly Elegy, the movie probably doesn't deserve to be in any nominations. But you should also take into consideration the bias the Oscars or Razzies might have that would draw them to pick the movies or people. The Razzies might be the culprit here, due to the bare minimum the voters have to do to nominate movies and people. But the Oscars have been under fire as well, due to their past experience of lack of diversity, having overly old and white people in the membership of the Academy. The main point here is that nominations for best or worst films or actors is very difficult due to bias and subjectivity, so these institutions might want to be working even harder to pick what's truly the best and the worst. Or maybe we're just overthinking all of this. Overall, they're just movies. We have all definitely seen both good and bad movies in our lives. We want to see appreciation for how good or bad these movies are. So awards like the Oscars and Razzies are there to determine who gets what. The Golden Raspberry Awards are surely fun to see, as people are curious to think how it's possible to make a movie that bad. Bad enough where they even give you worst movie of the whole decade, like Mommy Dearest in the 80s, Showgirls in the 90s, Battlefield Earth in the 2000s, and most likely Jack and Jill in the 2010s. Even though the Raspberry Awards are a low-budget group that started out as a joke and presents with tacky awards and decor, it surely tells these film productions and viewers something if you're nominated for a Razzie. All in good fun, recipients tend to embrace the award with satire, but it also may be a wake-up call to start doing better, like we see with the Redeemer Award. The Razzies sure have its flaws, with its lack of vetting for voters and possible bias for publicity, but it will surely be the beacon of how the people of the world know what really is the worst of the worst. I surely have ideas of what could be the worst movie of all time, but it's up to you all since film is art and interpretive, so comment what you think is the worst movie of all time. This year's Razzies will be announced on April 24th, so check out their website that I will leave in the description to see the nominations. The Razzies are a fun show to see, but I hope these filmmakers and actors do whatever they can to prevent them from getting nominated for a Golden Raspberry.